Siamo alla Triennale di Milano, che ospita una grande esposizione di uno degli artisti più riconosciuti nel mondo, rappresentante del neo-espressionismo, è Marcus Jansen, che appunto gira anche dal Belgio alla Francia, all'Italia, agli Stati Uniti e ovunque è riconosciuto come uno dei più grandi pittori al mondo. Quindi è un onore adesso essere con lui. What does it mean exactly, New Expressionism?
I mean, the word neo-expressionism has been around for a while. It started in the 1970s. You had sort of this New York response with Julian Schnabel and some of these other painters that came out of New York that were responding to what was happening in Germany. So, I've always seen my work as sort of maybe a revival of that somewhat. I mix different techniques and different styles of things, but it's more of for me, it's a way of expression, really.
And you started maybe with street style.
Yeah.
Is it really? Mm-hmm.
Well, I did. I grew up in the '70s in New York, and I was around graffiti art and street art and so forth. So that was one of the things that influenced me very early on. And then I went to Germany, of course, and I had the influence of German painters and the expressive painters. So the two combined probably made an impact on me. But it's a combination of different influences.
From a lion at 6 years old to a dystopic world, what does it mean?
That's interesting. Yeah, I did. I was going to school in Queens, New York, and there was a competition within the school to do paintings, and my painting was one of them that was chosen to be hung in a building in New York City in Manhattan, which was, I think, the Lever House at the time. And I painted a lion. It was a male lion, and I'm not sure what the meaning was at the time, but I always felt this sort of. It was very instinctive at the time. It was really not too much thinking. It was just an instinctive approach.
And then a dystopic world, it means that is like a depression in thinking that the world will be a disaster or not.
Well, I'm responding to a world that already is a disaster. As far as as we know, there are constant wars going on almost anywhere you look. The U.S. in particular, my country is of course involved in many wars, unfortunately. They're very difficult foreign policies that are going on that people can't really understand, and that's taking a toll on the population. So concerned about that. The concern is in the work.
We are near an opera that is titled
Transitions.
Transition, not translation. And I think that there is an optimist because there is the figure of a woman. Maybe a child, maybe an old woman, I don't know, maybe a man
Could
too.
be.
But there is a hope. In the darkness, there is the blue sky. It's real?
Yeah, I mean, I like working with different interpretations. So usually when you look at my paintings, you can interpret them in different ways, in two different ways. Depending on your psychological makeup, you might see them more negative, and some people see them more positive. And I like that gestural way and leaving it open for people to interpret.
I have noted that you don't do the face of the figures, as maybe you don't like humanity or the face of the humanity, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say the faceless people, as a dialogue, I like speaking about humanity without the different groups. And by keeping people faceless, it allows almost anybody to identify with the figure, number one. And then number two, of course, there's possibly some commentary on this sort of very anonymous society that we live in. We don't really connect anymore. It's sort of a very superficial kind of society that we have now. So I play with that dialogue.
Don't you like humanity?
I love humanity, which is why I paint the way I paint. Because it is. I'm trying to point out that I think humanity is under attack in many ways. And I think I think if we lose that, then we lose a very strong essence of who we are and what we do.
You were a warrior, if I can say so. You have done the Gulf War in 1990.
1990.
Yes, isn't it? And after you were very helpful with the military who came from escape the war, and you helped them in a hospital. What does it mean for you?
Well, I was in hospital after, when I came back from the first Gulf War. We all were sent through these programs to make sure that we were fine psychologically and testing and so forth. And it was there that I found back to art, because we had to go through these art therapy programs, and it was art therapy, and they would give you these things to paint and to draw, and you could just express yourself through art. And that's kind of what I think in some ways got me back to thinking about art as a profession, really. Yeah. This was, of course, back in early 1990s. Yeah.